Inganga nentsiba zayo lithili kwitsho lisitsho nje libhengeza ukufika kwethu siyinkqubo yendaba Ekhaya Jikelele. Ewe namhlanje yi-Friday kuyoqha kunobathana kusala unobangena. Kulesihlanu siza kuwembukeli imisila iphezulu ngokuba kwelethi icala akho makhwini banamikhinqi xa kufika ekudidiyeli nasekulungiseleleni uvimba wendaba kwaye ke siqiniseke ukuba sivundlisa isizwe. Nanjengokuba ke sichwechwela kwimpelaveki asinje siphaca senza njengesiqhelo. Namhlanje ke siniphathele ononi nazo zonke esemdleni woluntu. Phakathi kwazo ke yimincili, ugcobo nochulumanco emva kokuba ijelo losasazo loluntu luye labhengeza ukuba lizayisasaza indebe yehlabathi yombhoxo. Uyayiva ke ngoku ukuva ngokunye nokunye hlala apho uthi zava ungagunqi uqhushalaze kuba kuninzi esiniphathele kona. Dimlo ke unonkanyezi Kalubisi umadlongothi umazipho umamshukuma umazondwa ngezinto zakhe. Kodwa ke andihambi ndedwa ndiziqikaqika nenzwakazi yapha kwamakeba umamtshali ukhona unxangile. Umamtshali right?
Right, happy fry.
Happy fry. Zimfry namhlanje.
Yes.
Abash.
Mbukele ke sangena necabha sifike qathatha kulo esihlanu. Zimfry impela ke namhlanje kithi sonke ngoba phela bangena omani in last week. Ngithi ama bank balance asami kahle wakatsheki. Wembukele uyakhumbula ngoDisemba emakhaya ke mase ku after Christmas. Usuzo lokhu ubheka ibalance ukuthi he ngabe sekusele malini lokhu balisa wedwa ukuthi uyabona nje kuba ngafa ku500 phansi komatras the time ngihamba. Hey bengizothi mangifike eGoli ngikwazi ukuzama ngidonse kuze kuphela inyanga ngalo 500. Abanye ke njalo nje emakhaya ngabe sekumele babuyele eGoli after Christmas ogogo sekumele ukuthi badayise izinkukhu Nkosi yami ukuze umuntu akwazi ukuthola nje imali yokubuyela eGoli agibele. Abanye kuthiwa bagadeni mase behamba nivula ikhwama bayalayisha uthola sebefake wena rice wena zambane idonsa kanzibe eGoli umzala kodwa ngoDisemba kade kumnandisi emakhaya. Namhlanje ke mukele siyajuxuza siphethe ngisho nosisi kuzobe kumanzi phansi. Ngiyazi ukuthi ukholosa sombone seshaya itwalatsa kanye nekwasa. Hayi ke mukele singakangeni kulezi ezimnandi emakwasa okwamanje ke ake sibheke ihamba phambili kuleli hora.
Usekela mongameli uPaul Mashatile uthi abantu kufuneka bahloniphe iziphumo zomba wephalaphala ebephendula imibuzo eParliament ephezolo.
Iphoyisa ebelethula ubufakazi ecaleni lokubulawa kwayo nozinti Orlando Pirates usenzo May walithi liyabazi abanye babasolwa kuleli icala.
SABC ikikike isivumelwano neMulti Choice ukusasaza indebe yehlabathi yombhoxo. Itumente iyaqala namhlanje.
Igama lam ndinguLiso the musician. Lena yi-Ekhaya Jikelele. Ufumana imidlalo, ufumana imozulu, ufumana imiculo, ufumana nezindaba. Bandi jongile, abantu abadala, bandi katile, abantu basekhaya, bandi katile, abantu abadala, bandi jongile, abantu basekhaya.
Usekela mongameli uPaul Mashatile uthi masihlonitshwe iziphumo zophando ngakumongameli uCyril Ramaphosa kulandela ukwebiwa kwemali yangaphandle kweli kwifama yakhe iphalaphala. Usekela mongameli bephondile imibuzo kwibhunga lesizwe lamaphondo eParliament izolo.
Tile ebephambi kwalendlu yebhunga lamaphondo ngamaphondo ezokuphendula imibuzo waze waxinwa ngeziphumo eziliqela ngomba wasephalaphala ezafumanisa kuba uRamaphosa zange atyeshele mithetho.
State and law enforcement agencies must be allowed and be given enough space to complete their work without undue pressure or any form of interference. And lastly, when they are done, we should accept the results.
Amanye amaqela aphikisayo afana ne-EFF amekwelithi amaqumrhu karhulumente ayamkhusela uRamaphosa.
We accept the findings of the public protector. We accept the findings of SARS. We accept the finding, which is the other one, the Reserve Bank. We accept all of them because they did this with integrity.
uMashatile uphinde wabuzwa ngezithyolo ezivele kumaphephandaba kutsha nje ezimtyola ngorhwaphilizo.
This is an honorable house, and an honorable house must not reduce itself to gossip. When leaders are here, put the facts before them.
Kwiindaba ze-SABC, Dingobulelani Philip eParlamente.
Ungqongqoshe wamaphoyisa ubheka icele ehambisana nezinye izikhulu eziphezulu kwezombusazwe ubevakashele kwaNongoma inyakatho yesifundazwe iKwaZulu-Natal lena ngeminye yemizamo yokubhula umlilo njengoba kunegameko zokuqothwa kwabanye abaholi bezombusazwe ngenhlamvu.
Sishubile isimo kulomasipala wakwaNongoma inyakatho yesifundazwe iKwaZulu-Natal. Lokhu kulandela izigameko ezintathu zokuhlaselwa kwamakhansela akulomkhandlu. Lamakhansela ke ahlaseliwe kulezi zigameko ke ezedlule amakhansela aqhamuka eqenjini iNFP. Yilesizathu ke esiholele ekutheni ungqongqoshe omaphoyisa kuzolonke umnumzane ubheka icele kanye nezikhulu zamaphoyisa basingathe ke umhlangano ophuthumayo namanye ke amakhansela akulomkhandlu ukuzokuzwa ukuthi yiziphi ke iziphakamiso abangaba nazo malungana nokuxazulula lenkinga ekhungethe ke lomkhandlu.
Ayikho into ekuthema sixoxa yangitshela ukuthi isixazululo sotholakala ngokusheshsha emakhanseleni engathi mhlambe labezofaka khona ihlombe ekutheni kuzokwenza ukuthi nokuthi ikakhulu bekuyinkombankombane nje nokukhala nokuthethisana ukuthi izinto zinje.
Ungqongqoshe ucele uthe ithimba lamaphoyisa lizoqhubeka nokusebenza ke kanzima ukuzama ukukhuculula ke lendawo yakwaNongoma ubelelesi obuyikhungethe. NdinguSimphiwe Makhanya wezindaba ze-SABC ikwaNongoma.
Ipolisa elikhwele emkhumbini namhlanje kwityala lokubulawa kukaSenzo Meyiwa likwazile ukubeka abatyholwa abahlanu kwelityala eFosloras kosuku ekwagetyengwa ngalo uMeyiwa ngonyaka ka-2014. uConstable Sizwe Sikhumbuzo Zungu uxelele inkundla ukuba abatyholwa baye banyamalala kwindibano bebenayo hostela. Emva koko babuya sebephethe imipu kwaye uthe omnye wabatyholwa wabuya setshintshe impahla.
uConstable Sizwe Zungu uxelele inkundla ukuba bonke abatyholwa kwelityala babe kwihostel yaseFosloras ngosuku ekwagetyengwa ngalo uSenzo Meyiwa. uZungu uthi wayemenywe ngumtshana wakhe ukuba bayokuzonwabela eSuthu Hostel nalapho wafika abatyholwa bezonwabele khona phakathi kwabanye abantu.
Accused number 1, 2 and 3 came in following each other. Accused number 1 was carrying a firearm of a 38 revolver. Accused number 3 was in possession of a 9mm.
uZungu uchazelele inkundla iphakamileyo yasePitoli ukuba umangalelwa wesibini uBongani Ntanzi wabuya setshintshe impahla.
I then noticed that he had changed jackets, that he was now wearing a grey jacket from a black.
uConstable Zungu unqine ukuba umangalelwa wokuqala umuzi Sibiya nguye wamxelela ukuba uSenzo Meyiwa ubulewe.
And then he put it like this: have you heard that Meyiwa is no more?
And who's saying that?
Accused number 1. Accused number 1.
uZungu uthi waye wakwazi kakuhle ukudibanisa izinto emva kokuba efunde iphephandaba.
Dreadlocks, gold teeth.
Yes.
The witness pointing here right at the top of this is a mustache. And that made me to look at the accused number 2 and say, but this person that is being described here resembles him.
Uthi phakathi kwezinto ezamkrokrisayo kukuba kwaye kwakho umbhiyozo othile ukubuya kwabo abatyholwa bephethe imipu.
Thereafter, I had my own knowledge where I was now sure or certain that indeed it was them, from accused number 1 to 5. Because of the incident that happened on the day when I was there.
Yes, which incident?
Yes, that they came back and they had firearms and celebrating his death with a bottle of whiskey.
Uthi wathi wakuya kwipolisi eliphezulu nolulwazi wavalwa umlomo.
He said that it was a problem And when someone else now approached us, we stopped it.
uZungu utyhola ngokuba waye wagrogriswa amatyeli aliqela ngokuthetha phandle ngezinkcukacha uthi kwelinye ityeli indoda yayizibiza ngontuli yaye yamkhomba ngompu ivele ngefestile emotweni.
Umkhandlu waseGoli ufunga uyagomela ukuthi uzozama ngayo yonke indlela ukuzama ukulungisa leyo nkinga yokuhlala ngenkani kwabantu kwezinye izakhiwo zaseGoli. Lokhu kuzemva kwesigameko sokusha kwesakhiwo enkabeni yedolobha iGoli.
Ingxaki etshisa ukuthathwa kuhlalwe ngenkani kwizakhiwo zomasipala waseRhawutini kwaye kubekwa ukuba zingaphezu kwama600 izakhiwo nezindlu ekuhlelwe kuzo ngenkani zezaphula imithetho kumbindi wesixeko kuphela.
As the city of Johannesburg, we are going to ensure that we launch a full-on investigation so that anything and everything we say is not based on speculation.
Uninzi lwezakhiwo zohluthwe ngenkani zichazwe njengezingakhuselekanga zingakulungelanga ukuba kuhlalwe kuzo.
This thing of hijacking buildings and the hijacking of buildings and the land and the municipal property, it's actually not down there. It's actually involving a lot of people which are very high profile.
Kutyholwa amagqwetha amalungelo oluntu kunye nenkundla ngokucotha ngenkqubo yokukhutshwa kwabantu kwezi zakhiwo nokuhlaziywa kwazo.
Since inception, SERI has represented people living unlawfully in buildings in the inner city of Johannesburg. That representation has come, of course, we would have been approached by the different residents of buildings to say either they are facing eviction proceedings in the courts, have been evicted without a court order, or have had their services disconnected.
Ukanti nkulu baphathiswa yaseGauteng uPanyaza Lesufi useke ikomishoni ezakuphanda ngesiganeko seveki ephelileyo.
Enkosi ngokuhlala nathi nisasibukele kaloku apha ekhaya jikelele kanti ngokumbukeli singena kwisiqendu sethu sezemidlalo. iSABC neMulti Choices fikelele kwisivumelwano samalungelo okusasaza imidlalo ethile kwindebe yehlabathi kumbhoxo. Umsasazeli woluntu unelungelo lokusasaza imidlalo eli-16 equka yonke imidlalo ebandakanya iintshatsheli ezikhuselayo uMzantsi Afrika. iSABC kananjalo ke iza kusasaza ngqo imidlalo emibini ye-quarter final, omnye we-semi-final ne-final. Le tumente ke iqala ngokuhla kwanamhlanje ngomdlalo wosotheko iFrance neNew Zealand eParis. Nawo ke lo mdlalo wokusasaza uza kusasazwa ngqo yi-SABC.
Kusenjalo inhloko ebhekele ukusebenza kwansuku zonke SABC uIan Plakis ubechichima injabulo ngesikhathi ethula indaba ezithi umsakazelo womphakathi uphumelele ukuthola amalungelo okusakaza imidlalo yomqhudelwano wendebe yomhlaba yebhola lombhoxo.
In earnest 2 years ago, and it wasn't just about the Rugby World Cup, it was about a whole host of other things. You know, they do the same restrictions on PSL, for example. So it was around that, it was the Cricket World Cup, it was Athletics South Africa, and a whole host of other things where they have exclusive rights for free-to-air rights, which just doesn't make sense. So the negotiations broke down, basically, and then it left us with no other option. 14 months ago, we actually went to Competitions Commission and we escalated the matter to ICASA to say that regulations cannot allow a paid TV service to buy free-to-air rights with the sole purpose of not passing that on, but actually blocking the SABC, the public broadcaster, from showing these games. So it's not just Rugby World Cup. We're going to have the same challenge with cricket in 2 months' time. We have the same challenge with PSL.
Kanti ke iqela lombhoxo lase-New Zealand lithi lizimisela ukubonisa ihlabathi ukuba liseluqilima. Xa iqala ke itumente yendebe yehlabathi eParis eFrance ngokuhla kwanamhlanje.
anganako ukuzithemba amanye amaqela xa eza kudlala neNew Zealand kunangaphambili xa kujongwe ukwehla komgangatho kwindlela edlala ngayo kodwa ingathi loo nto mayidelelwe. Ayikuko nokuba ibikhe yafumana isibhaxo kumabhokobhoko kumdlalo wokuzifudumeza kodwa nyakenye New Zealand ityiwe kahlanu kwimidlalo emithandathu kanti ngo-2021 iFrance yayibetha ngamanqaku ayi-40 kwayi-25 eParis. Umqeqeshi we-All Blacks Ian Foster usabhalise impumelelo yemidlalo engaphantsi ko-70%, into engazange yabonwa kwiminyaka eyi-25 kweli qela. Kunezimemelelo ezithi makatshintshwe.
You know, we've had a good prep, we've had a great rugby championship. You know, we had a great, if you look at the performances against South Africa, Australia, and suddenly we're World Cup favourites, and then we don't do very well in Twickenham in a warm-up game, and suddenly we're the worst All Black team ever. So, you know, we smile at that, and we're quite excited about where we're at.
Kwelinye icala iFrance bonakalise ukuthi ikhona impumelelo kule minyaka mibini idlulileyo. Sukela ukutyatyusha kwayo i-All Blacks ngo-2021 sele idlale imidlalo vavanyo A17 kuyo yabethwa kwemibini jwi. Lo mdlalo wangomso kuvula olindelwe ngamehlo abomvu uqala ngomkhono emva kwentsimbi yethoba ngokuhlwa.
Kwezebhola likanobhutshuzwayo iBafana Bafana iyethembisa ukuthi nakanjani izongena emqhudelaneni wamazwe ase-Afrika i-AFCON.
We don't have to put other people higher than us. We really believe in ourselves also. And then that's the first thing that we must do going to the AFCON is to believe in ourselves that we can do it. I mean, we did it before, but then we could not beat Nigeria. If we did beat Nigeria, and then the coach also said it, that the group is more difficult in the AFCON, then it doesn't get easier, but it gets better after the group. And then yeah, we want to do something that has been never done before, is to go all the way out.
That we believe that we can challenge. You know, we can go all the way, and you know, we need to dream big. You know, I mean, why go there if we don't believe that we can win it?
Mbukela kwamanje ke siphosa amehlo ke sibona ukuthi khamba kanjani lapha kwisimo sezulu emva kalokho kwesobe sesiya eyitolo. Mangabe sibe eyitolo mbukeli sizobe ke sinomculo HKS ozobe ezosishayela umculo omnandi ungalingeke uphothelwe nasi isimo sezulu.
Washa. Washa. Yes. Sithakathi sibaloya ngengoma funa ukuphatha ithambo nathi sifane nezingoma khona abanomona sibaphendula ngengoma bakhulele enyokeni hayi kanongoma sifike ngomfutho khohlwa i-transport musically siyabhoda khohlwa i-passport phethele sigubhe sikukhipha kubudget musically sijimile vuka kukhathathi isikahle sasekase amabhathula mangasikeza into yethu siyayibhathula usibona simpunga sinje asifuna lamashe afaki imali sipope sidle awungadumeneja sekufike thina manje sekufike thina manje siyabanyakaziswa sekuphethe thina manje sekuphethe thina manje siyawablessa sekufike thina manje sekufike thina manje siyabanyakaziswa sekufike thina manje wash uthisha mabachabe hure what's fresh steli izandla moyeni wash mabachabe hure uthisha
From Nigeria to South Africa, we taking the music to America. From Nigeria to South Africa, we moving the music to America. Jamaica,
Canada,
Tanzania, I'm the king, don't touch my queen. Look at my swag, I'm fresh and clean. Wine for a brother, do that thing, cause we the king. Make you shake that thing, make you roll that thing, make you wind that thing. Feel it.
Wash. Sekufietina manje siyabanyakaziswa
sekufeketina manje
wash uthini sekufietina manje sekufietina manje wash sekufietina manje wozela
driver ure
yes uthini steli izandla moyeni sale mabachabe hure wozela cha steli izandla moyeni uthini shaka kamnandi iso stelu uthini bastot banyana bastot shaka kamnandi iso ngoba thina sije washa
ayebo
la
lo
Siphinde sikwamukele mbukeli Ekhaya Jikelele. Kusasa ke wonke amabombo azobe ebheke ehlalankosi kwaNongoma inyakatho yesifundazwe iKwaZulu Natal. Njengoba phela mbukeli amatshitshi ezobe ehambise umhlanga kunomthebe wesizwe emkhosini ke womhlanga. Lona ngumkhosi waminyaka yonke nokuhloswe ngawugqugquzela ukuyiphatha kahle kweintombi. Ziqhuqhuzelwa ukuthi zingayibandakanyi nocansi kuze kube zifika esigabeni sokugana. Njengamanje ke sixhumana nencithabuchopho kaSomlando uguguwa kwamazibuko. Dokotela uMazibuko sikubingelele sikwamukele lapha Ekhaya Jikelele.
Noxolo nabo bonke ababukeli ngiyanibingelela ngale mpela sonto enkulu kakhulu kangaka lapho intombi zibheke esigodlweni le ehlalankosi.
Sikubingelele nathi Dokotela uMazibuko. Siyabonga kakhulu ave sithokoza nje mangabe sixoxisana nawe lapha ngoba siyazi ukuthi kuzothi masiqeda ingxoxo sobe sesinolwazi besingalazi ngaphambilini. Sicela nje ke ukuthi ukusichazele ukuthi yini esingayilindela kulomkhosi omhlanga wakulonyaka.
Into esemqoka kakhulu mhlawumbe ngaphambi kokuthi ngifike ekuthenini singalindelani kulomkhosi omhlanga. Into esemqoka engingayisho nje ukuthi umkhosi omhlanga umkhosi lapho khona izimbali zesizwe zizigatsha khona ngomntombi bazo zibekela noma zisivezela ukuthi sekufika isikhathi lapho zibuyela khona futhi ukuyokwethula imhlanga yazo ongangezwe lakhe ukuthi sisazigcinile namanje ngakho ke ikusasa lesizwe lisekhona likhulu kakhulu ke isasasa elikhona ngalomkhosi esikulindeleke kulokhu ukuthi unyaka nonyaka izibalo ziyakhuphuka okukhombisa ukuthi lomkhosi uba nomthelela nakwabanye abasakhula abangakayi kuona uthi makufika lesi sikhathi sebethola ukuthi nabo sebeyakwazi ukuya uthola ukuthi ke uyakhula liyanda inani leintombi eziya emkhosini womhlanga.
Ngokubona kwakho ke doctor ingabe isalandelwa ngendlela efanele yini ke imigudu yalolu siko?
Imigudu yalolu siko isalandelwa ngendlela efanele. Lokhu ngikushiso ukuthi akukho la kushintshe khona ikakhulukazi ngasesigabeni sonomehlo ngoba onomehlo phela ibona bayihlo lesilo abayihlo lamakhosi asendlunkulu ukuthi ngempela intombi zisagcinekile. Ngakho ke njengoba kuqale kungenise umkhosi wesivivane kuqala okungomama nabesifazane ikakhulukazi obandakanya bona nomehlo bese kuthi ke emva kwawo umkhosi wesivivane bese kuqala ke umkhosi womhlanga isigaba sokuqala esigodlweni emachobeni bese kuba isigaba sesibili lesi siba sehlala nkosi. Ngakho ke ngicabanga ukuthi konke kusahamba kahle ngoba siyabona impela ukuthi ngisho neminyango engenelelayo kahulumeni ekubeni ingxenye lomkhosi isangenelela isekhona isaseka siyawabona impela ukuthi amabhasi alungele ukuthi aye kwaNongoma.
Uma ngabe ke nikhuluma nobhekeni bazi intombi ngemkhosi nje yemhlanga eseyadlula bayaye bathi unjani nje emahlombe abo lomsebenzi wokuhlola intombi?
Ngenhlanhla yami ngike ngaba naso isikhathi sokuthi ngibe nabo ngesikhathi belolongwa abanye into esemqoka kakhulu abayiqhakambisayo eyokuthi nabo kuba nokuthi okokuqala fanele bagcine ubumfihlo ngoba phela basuke bebheka isimo okungafanele ukuthi sinekelwe noma ubani ukuthi kuhamba kanjani intombini. Ngakho ke into enhle abayiqhakambise eyokuthi zisekhona intombi asekhona amatshitshi likhona ikusasa lesizwe samaZulu.
Dr. Mazibuko yazi ngike ngiyibuza ukuthi mangabe sekiwa lapha emhlangeni njeke seyifika nezintombi kanye nobhekeni bazo mhlambe zikhona nezinye intombi eziyifike zingekho ngaphansi kobhekeni kanti futhi mhlambe zikhona nejikiswayo ukuthi hayi cha akuhambi kahle intombi ngakho wena ngeke uphathe umhlanga.
Engakusho nje ukuthi njengoba amantombazane njengoba suke sibona ephethe umhlanga lapha yana asuke ehamba ngokwezigaba nangokwezifunda lapho eqhamuka khona enababheki bawo. Akhona amantombazane afikayo emhlangeni kodwa asuke ngekho kulezo zigaba. Sikhumbule phela ukuthi umkhosi womhlanga umkhosi wobungcwele. Ngakho ke njengoba ungowobungcwele nje osuke esefike lapha yana usuke sedlule beni ezehlukene ekufundeni asuka kusona. Ngakho ke fanele ubugcinwe ubungcwele bomkhosi womhlanga. Uma ngabe kungagciniwe kusho ukuthi kuyobe sekubulawa umkhosi kusukela empandeni zawo nasemakhosini amadala okuyiwona ayeuqhuquzela ekuqaleni ukuthi ube khona.
Awusilandise nje ke dokotela ukuthi mhlawumbe ngobani ke abazobe beyicukuthwane esingayilindela kulomkhosi womhlanga ngaphandle kwayo phela ke indlulamithi isilo somhlaba.
Umkhosi womhlanga uyaye udonse amehlo omhlaba wonke jikelele. Njengoba isizwe samaZulu siyisizwe esinobuhlobo nobudlelwane namanye amazwe kanye nobunye ubukhosi obuqhamuka kwamanye amazwe angaphandle ayafika nawo kweseka ezobungaza imbali zesizwe ngakho ke kusukela ngisho nakuhulumeni kuzwelonke nohulumeni wesifundazwe amazwe angomakhelwane amazwe anobuhlobo nesizwe samaZulu bazobe bephume ngobuningi beyizicukuthwane bezokwethamela umkhosi womhlanga bezobongela nongangeze lakhe ukuthi namanje isizwe samaZulu sisenekusasa ngoba imbali zesizwe ziqhakazile.
Dr. Mazibuko kuke kwaba ke nezinkulumo nokuhlongozwayo kube ukuthi kusazi izinkulumo nje ke ezokuthi kungenzeka ukuthi sibone ngesikhathi esizayo sekuba ke nomhlanga lapha esifundazweni eGauteng lapha eGoli mhlawumbe wena okwakho ukuphefumula kuthini ngalolo daba ubona kuyinto engenzeka noma mhlawumbe isadinga ukuthi ihlale phansi ibhekisiswe ithathe futhi nesikhathi
sicabanga ngokwami ukubona konke lokho kusemandleni kangangezwe lakhe kanye nondunankulu wesizwe namakhosi asendlunkulu nendlunkulu yonke ukuthi uma ngabe bebonisana bevumelana ngoba uma sikhumbula kahle umkhosi womhlanga wawukade usesigodlweni sasenyokeni kuphela kepha kwathi ngokubona ukuthi laba abasendaweni ezisenyakatho neKwaZulu nesifundazwe baba kude kakhulu ukuthi bafinyelele enyokeni kwase kuba naleso sicelo sokuthi kube nomkhosi womhlanga lapha esigodlweni emachobeni ngakho ke angeke sasho ukuthi ngeke kwenzeka ngoba sikubonile ukuthi kube nomkhosi womhlanga ube sesigodlweni emachobeni ngaphambi kokuthi kube khona lo omkhulu senyokeni ngakho ke singeze saphawula kakhulu ngoba akukho emandleni ethu kepha ongangezwe lakhe nondunankulu namakhosi asendlunkulu nendlunkulu yonkana ibona abangabhekelele leso simo bese bazisa isizwe sonke sikaZulu ngoguquko omkhona.
Sibonga kakhulu ke Dr. uGugu Mazibuko ngesikhathi sakho nje sikufisele nosuku oluhle cha amehlo ethu impela thenjo sizobe lisilokhu sibhekile nje lapha endlini zokusakaza ngoba siyazi ukuthi iSABC na kanjani izolokhu ikhombisa nje ukuthi kuhamba kanjani lapha yana ehlala Nkosi sikufisele nje nosuku oluhle.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu uNoxolo nabo bonke ababukeli.
Kubonga thina. Umbukeli ke okwamanje ake sithi qhu 8 lo sizobuya emva komzuzwana.
Enkosi ngokuhlala nathi nisasibukele kaloku apha ekhaya Jikelele kwinkqubo ndaba yakho uDTT. Iqela logqirha abangaphangeliyo abaqeqeshelwa kumazwe aphesheya baqhankqaleze besiya kwizakhiwo zomdibaniso ePitoli ngolwesithathu ukhalazela ukuba basazilolonga nangona beligqibile uqeqesho lwabo bathi ke basalinde imihla yebhunga ukuze babhale iimviwo zebhodi yabo ukuze bakwazi ukuqalisa ukuzilolonga bakwathyola ke ibhunga lengcali zezempilo eMzantsi Afrika iHPCSA ngokungashukumi ngokungxamisekileyo xa kufika kwiimviwo zabo ezibanzi kusixelela ngakumbi ke ngalomba sizawuthetha kunye noDavid Mabeja oyinhloko yemisebenzi engundoqo masikubulise mnumzana uDavid kwamkele enkqubeni yethu ekhaya Jikelele.
Ewe
Niyaphila?
Andiva.
Niyaphila kwelo cala?
Oh yeah, no siyazama wethu. Sithemba kuba nani phela kakuhle.
Hayi sigawula sihuqa asikwazi nje ukubana sikhalaze. David siyaqonda into yokuba uqhankqalazo lwenzeke ngenxa yenqalabo zokunqongophala kwabasebenzi bezempilo kwizibhedlele zikawonke wonke. Nanjengokuba ke kukho ingxaki kwinkqubo yezempilo yaseMzantsi Afrika, ungathi mhlambe yintoni ebangela ukulibaziseko ngaphezulu ehlanganiseni aba bafundi abasuka kumazwe ngaphandle abaqeqeshiweyo ukuba baqalise ukuxelenga?
Yeah. Ndiyaxolisa ke ngoba sami isiXhosa
hayi kulungile khuleka ungathetha ngolwimi lwakho.
Wenza kanjalo. So You know, there isn't a very simple and linear answer to this question. Context is important. Now, remember that these students had attempted to secure enrollment in South African universities, and they were denied that enrollment. And that is either because the South African universities did not have enough capacity to accommodate them, or they did not meet the requirements of enrollment in those institutions. So that's what would have prompted them to go and study overseas, emazweni afana no Russia and China and Turkey. Now, so when they come back, they don't have what they think is an automatic path to registration. You just don't come and then say, "Jikelele ukufunda Russia, so I'm now coming into practice." HPCSA, which is what we call a regulatory body for practicing practitioners, has to satisfy itself that wherever you were training, you got enough training that would make you a competent an ethical and professional doctor. And this we do because we need to protect the public. We need to make sure that doctors who are taking care of, abantu basekhaya, they have the skills to be able to do that. By the way, the profession is about saving lives and not taking lives. So when they come, they have to provide the HPCSA with what we call documentary evidence, which are documents that then give information about the training that they received. The board has got very specific requirements. For example, they need to have trained for no less than 5,500 hours. They should have covered some of the key skills areas like, child health, women's health, infectious diseases, which includes, TB and HIV, mental health, chronic diseases. So, and the institutions where they train shouldn't be your fly-by-night institutions. They should be legitimate institutions, which means they should have been registered and accredited by the regulatory bodies there. And they should also be recognized by the relevant government departments. So now, remember, Bafunda, in whatever is the language that is used in that country. And we can only process materials in English. So they have a responsibility to firstly get the original documents that we need, and then get them translated by recognized translators, have them notarized, and then bazithumele kuthi ke HPCSA. But then, so the challenge that they normally have is that they don't always get these documents on time. They don't get all of them. And as long as there's something missing in terms of what they've submitted, then their registration application will not be processed. And I think that's what is the biggest delay that we have seen. And even when these documents come, and let's say they are compliant, they are processed by a committee of the board, and finally a recommendation is made to the board. Boards and committees on average meet about 4 times a year. So it depends, Ogba, when did you send your documents? You might have sent them just after a meeting has passed, which means you're going to have to wait for 3 months until the next meeting sits to process. Okay, so that's really the primary cause of Sikuyo. But at the moment, the biggest challenge is to do with, and we don't do the examinations ourselves. We always rely on a service provider, which is usually a university. So we had a service provider, and the service provider's contract expired on the 31st of March 2023. In fact, it has always been extended, and the understanding was that it will be extended until a new service provider could be procured. So we had anticipated the expiry of the contract, and then we started right in March of 2022 to seek an alternative service provider. And unfortunately, we advertised only one. Andiva.
Yes, no, ngaqhubeka tata.
So we advertised, and only one service provider responded to that advert. But the service provider did not meet our supply chain management requirements. And as a result, they couldn't be appointed. As I said, service providers are normally universities that have medical schools. So then what we did was to advertise again. Again, it was the same service provider who applied. And as a result, they couldn't be appointed just like that. We had to go and get what is called a deviation from our governing council, which allowed us now to interact with this service provider so that we could assist them to meet our requirements. And unfortunately, that process took very long. But again, what I can tell whoever is listening amongst those students is we are meeting with the service provider today at 9, and my expectation is that all the contractual issues will be finalized. Then the SABC and provide a board examination before the end of this year. And goes.
Masibambe ngasibini wena mnumzana David. I mean, it's quite surprising that mhlambe umfundo ozoyofunda phesheya angameet the requirements, because one would think that if uzawuphinda phesheya ubuye lapha eMzantsi Africa, you'll have the necessary skills and you are well equipped into yobana ungene kulo field. But ke njengoba usithi into yokubana this is a field yokunyanga abaguli, into ethi ke mhlambe funeke ke kube khona yonke into eqinisekisiweyo. Sibamba ngazibini ngexesha lakho, kwaye siyathemba into yokubana njengoko kuye kwamachwa kwaya kwi-union building uzofumaneka isindululo okanye isisombululo kule nyewe nijongene nayo. Enkosi kakhulu.
Thank you very much. Enkosi.
Right, imbukeli wam lowo ke besincokola naye nguye kaloku uDavid Mameja oyinhloko yemisebenzi engundoqo. Masithi qhwike evenkileni iqiniseka ugqushi awugqusha lazi ubukele iEkhaya Jikelele.
Yeah.
All right.
HKS. 1, 2. Boss. It's that love song. Yeah. Let's go.
Be my lover, I will be your man, and I know you will be my Bring your finger, make her put my ring, make her know say you will be my Be my lover, I will be your man, and I know you will be my Bring your finger, make her put my ring, make her know say you don't be my And my wedding day, no be just a day, where we did the play, make you know the play, no be just a game. I like when you do it like this, when you move it like that. I like when you touch me like this.
It goes with the name, they call me Sandamo. I'm known in the hood as a hill pro, but in goes in my pants like Big Shot. Back to the door, I wanna marry you. You gotta do money, I wanna marry you.
Don't be shy, you got the rasta man.
Let me speak in tongues like a pasta man.
Be my lover, I will be your man, and I know you will be my Bring your